brought creatives, artists and musicians together with entrepreneurs, and we got them to meet as equals and co-mentor each other to see what would happen.
Ensuring there's a brief structure or a loose structure from which to work within, but also to push back if it's not the right thing. They met over 6 sessions and they each had the opportunity to be a mentor or to be a mentee. So they had the experience of sharing their expertise and their knowledge and their networks and their process.
I found a lot of the experience quite revelatory, and I think that was in part because James was really great about being encouraging about my practice, but also challenging me and asking tough questions.
We were all meeting at a place of equal value. So whether you be a business entrepreneur or a creative entrepreneur, you were coming with an expertise and an equality in value that was to be matched by your partner.
I found it extremely helpful to see my situation from a different way and to find new techniques to explore how I might get more of what I'm looking for, what I need.
I think there was definitely, in every case, there was a change in the way that the entrepreneurs thought and acted, and that was as a direct result of the creative input.
From the very first meeting, G helped me focus on making the most of a video asset. She guided me to creating a purpose for the videos to help me raise money for a school I'm building in Africa.
I know that from an entrepreneurial perspective, every single one of the entrepreneurs experienced a shift in their thinking and a shift in their approach to business. Even business being a kind of practice, because you're always learning.
Whilst I'm a proficient writer, I often struggle with the blank page and putting those first words down. It causes me some really bad creative block issues. A few exercises later, and the sessions with Kate of course, and the words are flowing nicely. Not a bad achievement for 3 sessions.
I completely changed my business practice by changing the way that I approach things, not being tied so specifically to outcomes. And it's changed the outcomes for my clients. It's certainly changed the outcomes for me. So as a very left-brained business owner working with business owners, it's actually added significant amount of money to my revenue for the period of this project. So in 12 weeks, it added £55,000 onto my revenue stream.
It's funny because I think there's a sort of intersection of a Venn diagram around strategic thinking, around innovation that are present both in being an entrepreneur and being an artist, in silos from each other and not being exposed to different ways of thinking, and so we get locked down into ways of thinking and then it's hard to open that up. And I would love I think it's very common, for example, once an artist forms a company to then have a point where they have a board, and then that's a space where they might invite more business-minded thinking. But I think it would be really great if more freelance artists had the experience of actually being able to speak to someone who has a more business-like perspective as they're developing their practice. And similarly, I think there's something really valuable about artists not just being creators of art, but creative thinkers, and being able to think creatively is also very useful for business, I would think. And
certainly my feel for the way that the creatives have come back to the end of the project was that whereas the business aspect might have felt very heavy and burdensome, that some of that weight has been lifted and they actually feel very lighter. They wear the burden of the machinery of business a lot lighter. Every single one of this particular project cohort is going to keep in touch because we've all built these relationships that we would never have had if this project hadn't gone ahead.
And there's been a real shift in understanding of new and different and other ways of doing things, which brings opportunity if you apply it to the way you have done things before. So unlearning, relearning, trying, exploring, curiosity. I'd say there's been some innovation, there's been some increase in revenue, there's been some more strategic thinking about how to make creative projects happen. So really true individual development in different ways.
Yeah, everybody won.